Orion is a global leader in the carbon black industry. Carbon black is used in a lot of products. It's used in in vehicles and tires. It's used in a lot of the rubber around within your vehicle, within a car. It is used in a lot of specialty markets. It's used in the fiber market. So, for example, athletic wear. It's used in the ink market. The number of ink opportunities. There's used in the coatings market. So if you look at a high-end coating on a car, for example, you'll see it there. And really importantly for us, it's used in the electrification industry or market. And what I mean by that, so looking at EV batteries, as you're seeing the evolution toward electric vehicles, we have products that go into EV batteries. We also have products that go into high-end voltage cables. So for example, those that come from wind farms or from solar farms to transmit the electricity. So our products go in all those areas. We're a company that has 15 manufacturing facilities. We're building our 16th one right now in La Porte, Texas, just 30 miles away from here in Houston. We're in 5 continents. We have about 1,600 employees across 80 countries, so we're a very global company. We've been around our heritage goes back over 150 years. For a long time, we were part of a specialty chemical companies within Europe. For a few years, we were private, and then the past 10 years, we've been a public company.
So now, while you are a part of day-to-day items that everyone touches, Orion's not a company that's really well known. So what are some aspects of the company that are not well understood?
I talked about the carbon black industry. For a long time, it was an industry that was, its profitability was kind of mediocre, didn't have the financial wherewithal to reinvest in itself, not just Orion, but across the industry. That's changed. Over the past 5 years, we've seen a transformation in the industry. Supply and demand has kind of gotten level. In fact, demand is starting to outstrip supply in many markets. And so we've had the ability to increase our prices, which have given us a better return on our business, return on capital that quite frankly, we deserve. That's allowed us to reinvest in our facilities. We also have been investing very heavily in emission control equipment here in the United States. We have made a significant investment there. We've also continued to have low levels of emission relative to other other situations in Europe, for example. So if you compare the emissions of our plants in Europe to, say, India or Russia, much, much lower. So all of that has allowed us to reinvest in our business, to make us a more stable company, and to give us a longer term path. That's good for us, that's good for our investors, and quite frankly, it's good for our customers to have that level of stability.
Talk to me more about your growth prospects and earnings power.
Sure. If you looked at Orion over that 10 years we've been public, for many of those years, the first 6 or 7, we had EBITDA somewhere in the range of about $250 to $275 million. Pretty constant number, wasn't growing, wasn't shrinking. Had a little bit of a dip in 2020 with COVID. And then coming out of COVID, we have grown 3 years in a row, 21, 22, and 23. We're expecting to grow in 24, and quite frankly, to grow in 2025. That's different than a lot of chemical companies. A lot of chemical companies took a step backwards in 2023. We did not. We took another step forward. We're now generating free cash, which we weren't for a number of years, but we are now. We have the continual, not only just the growth in our business that we've had over the past few years, but we have a target to get to $500 million of earnings capacity in 2025. That doesn't mean we'll have $500 million of EBITDA next year, but we have the capacity to earn that, and we believe there's a path for us to get there in the relative near term. So all very exciting things. With that increased cash flow, we can reinvest in our business, and we can grow our business, such as the La Porte plant that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. So now, as we look to a year ahead, or maybe even 2 years, what are some of the things you'd like to say about Orion when it comes to your strategic direction and your accomplishments?
We're excited about the plant in La Porte. That should be online in mid-2025, so a year or 2 from now, you should see the benefits of that. And that's a plant that is serving that electrification market that I talked about earlier, the EV batteries and the high-end power cables. So that's a great thing there. Secondly, because of the pricing improvements that we've gotten over the last few years, there are some investors who look and say, is that transient? Is that cyclical? Is that going to go the other way? We don't believe it is. Perfect example was the last year or two where again, we were able to continue to get improved pricing. We think that that's a permanent change within the industry, and I think another couple of years of Our investors, seeing that, they'll get much more confident. And then finally, and one thing I haven't talked enough about is our sustainability efforts. Along with focusing on the EV batteries and the electrification, we also been heavily focused on circularity. Now, circularity, what does that mean? Circularity is where, if you look, for example, at tires, most tires at their end of life, they're burned and there's no value in them. We've been working with our customers and with certain suppliers to be a leader in that area where you take tires, you basically melt them down and you redevelop that raw material. So you take the raw material from the burned out, the used tires, and you ultimately have new raw material, and you have a circular economy there. So that's something that we believe we're a leader in. As recently as a couple of weeks ago, we made an investment in a company in France to help us get some of that raw material on an ongoing basis. So it's a very exciting future for Orion. Great time for us to really show that we can make this a sustainable company for the next 150 years.
Jeff, it's been wonderful to talk with you. Thanks for joining me on Floor Talk today.
Thank you.